Good evening. This is the second podcast for marijuana. And in this podcast, I'm going to talk about the adverse consequences of marijuana use or THC containing compound use. They are not insignificant adverse consequences, and anyone who engages in this debate must be aware of them. There are 9 that I'd like to bring to your attention. Number 1, frequent marijuana use can seriously impair a person's short-term memory and thus interfere with their ability to learn new things. Related to this, number 2 is adverse effects on cognition or thinking abilities. And that means that some people will engage in high-risk behaviors that may very well increase their risk for sexually transmitted diseases, among other things. Number 3, chronic use of marijuana inhalation can cause lung damage and create symptoms of chronic bronchitis, constant productive cough. Number 4, there is a potential for abuse. You have to realize that the THC content, the concentration of today's marijuana and other THC containing compounds is far in excess of 80%. When I was a teenager 50 years ago, it was like 3%. This is not an innocuous drug. People can actually become quite paranoid when they use it, or even psychotic. Number 5, as a consequence of its adverse effects on memory and cognition, and its ability to hamper fine motor control, there's a greater potential for motor vehicle accidents. Number 6, a recent report from a cardiology journal demonstrated that heavy use among older individuals increased the risk of abnormal heart rhythms, some of which can be quite dangerous for the elderly person. Number 7, chronic use of marijuana can have an adverse effect on the quality and quantity of sperm that a young man produces. Number 8, commercial farming of marijuana can lead to environmental degradation. The surrounding land and water can become terribly polluted. And number 9, whenever there is the opportunity to make large quantities of money, criminal gangs can insinuate themselves in that business. The bottom line is that this drug comes with a lot of baggage. Where do I stand on this issue? Well, to be honest, in my mind, the jury is still out. The only way I would consider voting for legislation that would legalize medical marijuana, legalize recreational marijuana, is if every adverse consequence that I have listed is addressed, and addressed in a way that will mitigate its potential for appearance. So this is the end of my podcasts on marijuana. It's a complex issue, and I encourage you to think about the pros and cons that I brought to your attention. Thank you.